What is up, guys? Welcome to a Football Manager 2018 experiment video. We are, of course, coming towards the end of the cycle of this year's Football Manager. There's a lot of excitement around the new release with the reskin and the redesign of all the artwork, things like that. But there's still some lifeblood left in the current edition. So we're going to go ahead and try and sip away at some of that, get some fun of our own. And we start here. You can probably tell by the title what we have done, but I'm going to jump in and show you in just a moment here. Anyway, we have the Scottish Premiership, but you may notice some things or people are indeed missing. I have taken Celtic and Rangers and just basically dispatched them. You can see all the way back to 97-98 here. They are the only winners of this league. Nobody else has won it. It goes beyond that. I think Aberdeen were the last winners back in 1984 that were not Celtic or Rangers. But now they're gone, so that is going to change in 2018. Somebody else is going to win this league. They exist, there is not in any division. We drop down here to the championship. I guess this moved the two teams up from the playoff that either didn't get in or made it to the final and lost. So for the Premiership, I moved up Dundee United and Falkirk, and then so on down the leagues. I moved up a couple of teams each time. So you filled it in all the way down here. Bucky Thistle and East Kilbride get their chance in league football from the very beginning instead of having to rely on the luck of the playoff, which in this game is just random anyway. So we're going to go through a bit at a time. We'll do the first season, then we'll probably jump ahead a little quicker than that, beyond there, and just take a look and see what happens. Does another one team dominate the picture in the way Celtic and Rangers did? Do two teams dominate the way Celtic and Rangers do? Or do we have a spread round? Is there going to be a surprise? Is there going to be a takeover? Quite often there's a team in this league, or a couple of teams options that do get big takeovers. They just don't do anything with it. Maybe they'll do something with it this time. Who knows? But we are going to jump ahead to the next season from now and see exactly where that leaves us. So we will be right back. Alright, so this is the final league table after one season. So as you can see, no Rangers, no Celtic. Aberdeen, who I think probably I would have expected to be the team up there, have taken it. Only 4 points clear of Hibs, and then there's a bit of a gulf down towards Partick, Hamlin, teams like that. Dundee United and Falkirk, the two teams I kind of pushed up from the championship, went straight back down. Again, that's probably kind of to be expected because, in fairness, they built their squads to compete in the championship. I just threw them in the Premiership, so it's probably not too much of a surprise that they were comprehensively, actually, if you look at it, relegated by a long way. But apart from that, no real surprises. We have these teams going to Europe. We'll check their progress as it goes on as well. We'll look at how the Scottish teams have done in Europe, see if there's been any push there, see where their reputations go. Hopefully things start to improve. But Aberdeen, let's take a quick look at their team, see who they had. They didn't really do much. A lot of these players they already had. So they haven't done a lot. Stevie May was there, Rooney, the Brian Christie on loan from Celtic. We'll see if that one sticks around, but there's really not a lot here that's different. As we go on, it'll be more interesting because we'll see if the money comes in, because Aberdeen are just going to get a big-ish injection of money from Champions League football. Even if it's just the qualifiers, they'll get something, right? So they'll be able to work with that. We'll see if this first league triumph allows them to be a dominant force based financially alone. So Dundee United and Falkirk go back down. Yeah, it is expected. They probably didn't get a chance to do a lot in terms of improving their squad before the season happened. Or definitely not improving it enough to stay in the league. They lost the playoff as well, I think. Yeah, so they're going down. Take a quick look at the championship. So Martin are coming up. They beat Dundee United in the playoff final, along with Dunfermline. So that Dunfermline and Martin will be playing the Premiership next year. Airdrie are one of the teams I pushed up from League One, so they managed to survive. I feel like it might have been Alloa or Brechin, to be honest. I think it was Alloa, or the other team I bumped up. Brechin in real life did a lot better. They did a lot worse in real life. They did better here. They only had like 7 points in real life. They didn't win a game all season, but they still went down. We'll jump to League One. So Elgin won the League One playoff, and actually that is the final. So Elgin looks like are they heading up or are they remaining? I don't really know. Let's have a look at the league table. So Wraith won the league and Ayr are also going into the championship. So Wraith and Ayr going up. Queen's Park and Albion Rovers are dropping down to League 2. So again, not a ton to look at after the first season. I'm just going to quickly run into League 2 and see where we're at. So Peterhead and Elgin are up. East Kilbride did not survive. They go back down. Bucky get to stay in. Is there a playoff there? There is. So Brora will join League 2 in the coming season. But that's where we're at. So that's just one season. There's not a lot to see after this. We're going to check back in 5 years' time and see where the Premiership lies. Alright, so there's a pattern developing here. If you look over, the first thing I noticed when I brought up the screen, we were in 2023 right now. But the first thing I saw was this. So Aberdeen and Hearts have kind of taken over the roles of Celtic and Rangers. Hearts now 3 times winners. Aberdeen have won it once more since we were last here. But Hearts seem to be kicking on, trying to take over. A lot of new faces in here, which is good. So we'll take a look and see some of the squads. The reputation's jumped back up. I remember it was down, withering away down here for a while. But it's jumped back up to 14th. That tells me there might have been a decent European performance coming through. So we'll get to that. We'll kind of check in with how the league table has actually looked. So this is where we started. We went here. So Hearts took over. Aberdeen finished 3rd that year. Martin went down. Dunfermline stayed in the league. Aberdeen finishing 3rd that year. So again, it's Hibs and Aberdeen both up there. Hearts finished 10th the year before. They must have had a big improvement to jump up there. We'll look into 2020. Aberdeen stole at that time from Hearts, Hibs. So there's your top 3 right there. Aberdeen, Hearts, Hibs. It's been a consistent set, the top 3 of the league. 2020, again, Hearts, this time a much bigger gap. They kind of start to run away with it almost. Dundee United go back down. Queen of the South stay in the league this time. Hearts, Hibs, St Johnstone moving into 3rd place. Aberdeen taking 4th. Falkirk and Ross County go down. So there's not a lot of teams managing to stay in the league, which is kind of disappointing. I was hoping there might have been a championship team that was able to establish themselves by now, but Football Manager doesn't really like that too much. And then the current season, Hearts winning the league, Hibs coming 2nd, where Aberdeen down in 7th. They had a really poor year. Dundee taking 3rd spot, Motherwell in 4th. So it's Scotland actually now with 2 Champions League spots again. Hearts winning the league, Hibs in 2nd, also qualifying. So that's new. That's due to a jump somewhere. I'm going to take a look at Hearts. They seem to be the team to actually watch. So let's look at see their key player, Greg Sterling, Scott winger. He's not bad. It's pretty good. So they did play Champions League football. It looks like they didn't make the group stage unless he just didn't play. I don't think they would have automatically got in. We'll take a look at it though. Let's take a look at their squad here and see what they've got. Grant McIntyre, Scott 22. What have they got up top? Eric Taylor. There's nobody special. Well, Chris Smith, still only 19 years old. He's gonna be a special player probably, if not already. He's already turned into a very good talent. Sorry for the chair. My chair squeaks a lot. I just don't want to sit in a wooden chair anymore because it hurts my back. But anyway, Chris Smith, a very good young player. Let's see if there's any names I recognize here. John Sitter still at the club. He's a good centre back. I had him and I played a Hearts save well beyond 2023 actually. And he was a rock. And for the most part of the back for me, Glenn Kamara, Lewis Morgan here. £15 million value left winger. He's a good player. What did they get him for? How did that? Oh, that's 500,000. Now worth 15 million. Could make a nice bit of money there. Let's back out. In fact, no, let's go into Hearts. Let's look at their schedule here. So they've played. So they did make the groups then. They must have done. So they made it through qualifying there and against Poznan and again against PAOK. So they did make the group stage actually. They had Tottenham, Lyon, and Roma. So that's not easy. In fact, they got a point there against Roma. They got 1 point this year in the group stages against Tottenham, Lyon, and Roma. So, you know, they made it to the group stage, which is something. But they didn't really manage to push on beyond that. That might have been, honestly, what has helped the coefficient, though, and got the league to bump up, is the fact they made it there in the first place. We'll go back, see what else we have. Hibs here, the 2nd place team. Gary Connolly is their key player, left midfielder. 21 years of age. He's not bad either. They had a nice little spell in the Europa League this year. We'll check out how they did there. Let me see, Europa League. No, they lost in the third qualifying round to Club Brugge. So they didn't really get particularly far in the competition. They made it to the third qualifying round, but I think just having Scottish teams that make it a decent distance isn't the worst thing. It's Leverkusen v Liverpool in the final this year. Manchester United, their Europa League team, believe it or not, there. Coming back, let's take a look. Let's take a look at Aberdeen. I feel like they just might have had a down year. Maybe they lost some players. Eric Matholo, centre back. He's a solid player. Good mentals, physicals are pretty good. Not very agile, but apart from that, they're solid for this league. His defensive stats are pretty good. He is 33, so that might help to explain why things haven't quite worked out. Nothing in Europe here. So he didn't play because Aberdeen finished second or third. So they should have had some kind of European football this year, but they don't. They played in the League Cup group stages. Am I at the very? I am. Interesting. Who else was in Europe? Let me drop back a year. Aberdeen finished fourth. St. Johnstone will have been the European team. I apologize. Let's take a look at that. They didn't have a good year this year either. Bobby King, their star player centre back, he's really not all that. He is 21 only, but that probably explains a lot. 2 games in the Europa League. I feel like that was a first qualifying round disaster. We'll jump in and take a quick look anyway. Yeah, well, second qualifying, they went in there, they lost 4-1. I keep clicking on that, away from home to whoever these people are from Poland. Oh, that's not bad. But a 4-1 defeat is not good, even away from home. A 2-1 win, not enough to overcome that deficit, and they were one and done in the Europa League this year. And then they finished 8th in the league, so it didn't really become much of a surprise in that sense. Let's take a look down, see where we're at, who's in the championship. Livingston, Dundee United, Inverness, Falkirk, Ross County, Ayr, Wraith, Airdrie, Dumbarton and Clyde. So again, not a lot is really changing. The dynamics are the same. I wish there was something more, another team that they able to push in, but the dynamics lower down in the leagues haven't really done a lot. Let's take a look, see who's been coming into the league, see if there's anyone of interest. Peterhead made it in briefly. But apart from that, really not a lot. Let me see what League 1 looks like. Cove Rangers made it into League 1, but they've just gone back down. So that's teams from outside of the game completely making a push. Good to see them get in there, even though they have just disappeared entirely again. That was their one season. They weren't in the year before. And they appear to be the only team of that kind to have made that push, which again is unfortunate. I wish there was something else to see. Of a quick peek at League 2. At the moment, Brora are sticking around in there. Whether that's they've been coming up and down or not, it's hard to say. I'll drop back one. So Cove won it that year. Brora finished 9th. And there was no relegation there. Cove been in there for a couple of years before they went up. Brora looks like they've just been there, which is good. Brora managed to just make a point to stay in. Bucky Thistle went down the year after, so. But Brora, after they came up, have stayed. So at least that's someone that's managed to maintain, even though Cove Rangers did also do that, then went straight back down again. Let's take a quick look at the national team. That's one more thing I do want to see. Because Celtic and Rangers do still exist, so in theory there should still be players coming through. Like Kieran Tierney is still at Celtic, even though they don't exist anymore. So he's wanted by Arsenal. No one's bought him yet, which is strange. I'd have been pretty certain he would have left by now. Hearts actually were, they're ahead of Rangers on that list. Anyway, Celtic's still the most reputable club in the country, even though they don't play anywhere. They have no manager, they don't play football anymore. They play friendlies and they win those friendlies. But that's it. Oh, they're still in the League Cup. That I didn't know. Celtic and Rangers are still in the League Cup. Celtic made it to the final, lost to Motherwell on penalties. How about Rangers then? They'll still be in it too. I didn't realize I left them in there. It kind of makes sense, but they made it to the quarterfinal and lost to Hibs. So they're not actually bringing in players really, so they're just going to kind of start to wither away eventually. I don't think they're doing a lot in terms of incomings. They're just kind of hanging on to who they had already. So I'm not too worried about it. Tommy Wright is the Scotland manager now, former St. Johnstone manager. He straight away actually went to Scotland and has stayed the entire time. How's that gone? Point Andrew Robertson as captain, knocked out in the European Championship second round. So they made it through the group stages, but lost in the second round there. Did not. There's nothing else really to see. If that's 2020, nothing else has happened in 3 years. So that tells me that they didn't make it to the 2022 World Cup. and they're now here. Here we are. Alright, so with that, I think we're going to make a move. We're going to return to 5 years from now. We're going to go for it again, 5 more years for the last jump. We will see if anything else, hopefully something more interesting, will have happened in that time. So we'll be back for that one. Alright, so for those of you that seem to think that Celtic and Rangers did not dominate Scottish football or left Scottish football to become better and more exciting, Football Manager says you are wrong, because Hearts have won the league now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years in a row, 9 out of the last 10. Yeah, it's not really going the way that you all might have hoped. So yeah, Hearts are dominating the league right now. We'll go in depth in a little bit, but I want to take a look at some of their players. Chris Smith, this is the youngster. He's now about £17 million, 24 years old. Hammers goals in for fun, really. He's got 48 caps at 24 for Scotland, 23 goals in that time, 14 Champions League games. Oh, now that's going to be one to look at. How far did they get, I wonder? Let's take a quick jump into the actual season here. We'll go back. I do want to look at Hearts in a little bit, though, because that is interesting. So I'll go back. We finished, I think, this is the one we finished on last time. So we have Hearts obviously win the league by 10 points here. Hibs, Motherwell, Kilmarnock following up. Hamilton, Livingston went down. So Dunfermline stayed in the league, which is nice. They stayed in there as well. Hearts win the league. So they're not Queen of the South finished third there, actually. So Hearts aren't necessarily running away with it yet, but they're winning comfortably enough that it's not much of a competition. You know, that's a 8-point gap to their nearest rival. It's not something you want to say it was a great season to watch at the neutral. Coming again, well, 24 points that time. They made 99 points. Queen of the South still in there, Dunfermline still in there, Falkirk going back down. So Hearts really running away 96 points there, nearest rival only 67. It's a 29-point gap. Ross County only got 8 points, Dunfermline go down. So it's really become the Hearts League. And then this season, yeah, they only got, there's only 3 points this time, 89. Hibs with 86. That's their strongest showing for a long time. To get 86 points and not win this league is harsh. They managed to come second. Hearts still able to run away with it. Inverness made a return to the league, but it was brief. As Dundee United also go back down, Queen of the South cling on again. Right, let's take a look at this Hearts team. I want to see what they did in the Champions League. So actually, first of all, their manager, Gary Naismith, is their manager. So there you go. Let's take a look through Javier Plus. That's a solid goalkeeper, 27-year-old Chilean. Very solid goalkeeper indeed. Kevin Granger. It's a good physical. It's not the best at any of this. Where's he going? Newcastle. So they're already losing him. Ledson. The center mid. They're playing on a center back. That seems like a waste. The mentals are fantastic. It's also 30. So that's okay. The Norwegian. There's no left back at the moment. They got this chap here on loan from Chelsea. Solid striker. Chris Smith, we've already seen as their star, though. Look at that. For the Scottish League, that is fantastic. Haksabanovic. Yes, him. Decent player again. Good to have around. Let's see, Greg Sterling, the right midfielder. 28-year-old Scot. He's uncapped, which is a surprise looking at this. Uncapped Scotsman at 28. Lee Farrell has 49 caps at 25. He's a good, solid midfielder. Look at these physicals. That's very good, very strong. Let's take a look at their schedule. I want to see what they did in the Champions League. So they started in the first qualifying round. So Scotland really struggled then. First qualifying round, they made it through, then second and third. So that's 8 games right there, and then they played 6 more. So they didn't get out of the group again. They lost to Juventus, Porto. That's Porto again. Who have I missed? Real Madrid, Juventus, Porto. What a group. No points for Hearts in the group stage. They went out. They played 14 games. 8 of them were in qualifiers. Then they got beat 6 times in a row in the group stage to lose it. So there hasn't been that European threat coming from Scottish football, which is unfortunate. It would have been nice if there was a team that coming out of Scotland that could play in Europe and do it well. You know, but Hearts, I think, were the best bet, considering they're dominating the league, but they haven't even come close. So that probably tells you the standard of the league hasn't really recovered from the loss of Celtic and Rangers, who do eventually pick it back up in this game. They usually figure it out and get themselves into a decent spot. Christopher Ayer, I didn't even see him. He's also at Hearts. He left Celtic. He can be a very good player on this if you give him a chance, but Celtic I don't think can do really. And then he probably was wasted away there for the most part since they disappeared off the face of the earth. Let's jump in. I'm going to go into stages first now to see all the playoffs. Let's jump down. Obviously the playoffs anyway because I'm an idiot. Right, who we got here? Falkirk winning the championship. Livingston. So it's the same 4 teams really. Falkirk, County, Dunfermline. Livingston really gone up much. So it was these 3 teams, and then we had what, Dundee United in the Premiership who are going back down. Inverness, I haven't seen them for a long time. Queen's House still. It's really the same 4 teams are bouncing. Or just bouncing around. Dundee United, Falkirk. Who else did I say it was? Dundee United, Falkirk, Ross County, and Dunfermline are the same 4 teams bouncing between Championship and Premiership, and none of them can actually get a stranglehold on it. It was kind of sad again. I wanted to see some kind of shift in the dynamic up there without the top 2 teams. I thought it might have been more open, but really, in reality, this has closed up a lot more because I say Hearts have won 8 in a row and 9 out of 10. So it's become the Hearts League, so it's definitely worse without them in there. Let me check League 1. Is anyone decent in here? Edinburgh City made it to League 1, but they're just withering around down there. Apart from that, it's business as usual. Clyde going up to the Championship. And then League 2, Cove Rangers won League 2 that year, so that's nice. They made it up there. They're going back into League 1. Let me see what... That's the Scottish Cup. Don't want that. I don't know how to press buttons. This is what I want. So they finished 2nd that year. Brora. Is anyone fun that made it in the league at one point? It's really Cove and Brora. And then a bounce around of whoever else existed. Brora, where Cove? They might have gone down the year before. Oh no, they won it. No, that's way back then. I've gone back way too far. My gosh. So yeah, really no. Nothing is particularly exciting has happened, which is unfortunate. Let me check Scotland again real quick. See what's going on. Hearts now the most reputable team. Rangers disappearing off the map. Tommy Wright still in charge. 17th is the world ranking. It's European Championship time. So that's always good. Let me see if anything else has happened. Let me see his milestones. Not out. So he made it to the World Cup quarterfinal, lost to Spain. So he did make it to the 2026 World Cup and did pretty well. So he can't be too disappointed in that. Made it to the quarterfinals. It's something Scotland can only dream of right now, I'll tell you. Let me see. Can I see... Let me see the transfers. I want to go all the way back. So let me see if... I want to see if any money has come in. So we're going to start this. So the first year, the biggest fee was £325,000. I saw Craig Curran go from Ross County to Aberdeen. That tells you about the lack of money in the Scottish game at that point, unless your name is Celtic, and eventually Rangers again. But 325 grand was the biggest fee. 575 went up a little bit. Hamilton spending that, which surprised me. They might have brought in... Did they sell anyone? No, not really. That does surprise me. So they spent that much money on Paul McClellan from Dundee United. Lewis Morgan, that's when he moved. He's worth a lot more than that now. So some bigger fees there, but nothing extravagant. Here we go. 2.2 million. So it's Hearts starting to spend the money now from their time moving up. So Malky Chapman, Lewis Vaughan, Glenn Kamara all costing £1 million or more. Fees you wouldn't even have imagined in this league. The next highest spend by a team was Aberdeen, 675k. They already lost or put out $1 million for Greg Tansey. So that's the only reason they could afford that. It is Hearts that are just managing to afford all of this stuff now. Let me see. It's so Sean Brown from St John's to Arsenal for £2.5 million. A 26-year-old capped 3 times at Newcastle. Now I don't think he made the most of the potential Arsenal thought that he had. Arsenal bought him from St Johnstone in 2021. Loaned him back to Scotland a few times. He played 4 games, went to Newcastle. So he definitely didn't fulfill the potential they thought, but that's a good move. And then it's Hearts spending the money again, but not as much. So they're still not blowing it. Oh, here we go. That's out Malky Chapman from Hearts to Sassuolo for £14 million. Fulham buying a player. So again, no one apart from Hearts has spent over £1 million in Scotland during this entire thing. Who is Malky Chapman? 28-year-old, capped twice. It's nothing really special. He's only valued at £2.3 million now. They spent £18 million on him a while back. So seems like that was a bad deal for them. Hearts got a steal there. This guy just up, he's retired now into Conspor. Basel bought Sean Bayliss from Hibs. He's now at Sevilla. He's decent. For 8 caps for Scotland, a striker. Made his way to Sevilla. And then Hearts starting to spend money now, 4.4 million. Rising to 5.5 for Greg Sterling from St. Johnstone. We already looked at him, he was a solid player. They bought Agupong from Bristol City, is now out of Istanbul, so it didn't really do much for them, did it? But we're starting to see a little bit more come in. It's players in Scotland that are getting valued higher, which is kind of nice to see. But Hearts now they're starting to spend 9.75 million, 8.5 million. They sold one for 10 million, but they're starting to spend the money now. But I still don't think any. Oh no, Hibs now spending over £1 million finally. But Hearts are throwing money around. But they're also selling players. They had a big squad turnover in that year, but it didn't do them any harm domestically. And then again, Hearts hit Motherwell spending over £1 million finally. Not a lot of transfer activity this year. We'll quickly run through, see if anything sticks out. Hearts didn't really spend money at all this year. Motherwell spent a little bit. And then, again, Hearts have stopped spending money. Hibs are the team now with a little bit. And the final year, again, the money's kind of disappeared. So that is strange. Maybe Hearts, and that maybe back here, or here in the year after, Hearts just overspent. And they found out, oh, we have no money left. We can't spend our money anymore. But it doesn't matter because domestically they still dominate. So there we go. That's it. 10 years down the Scottish Premiership line without Celtic and Rangers. I'd say the league got worse. I think we should recalculate whether we actually want them to be gone or not, because Hearts, at least in this case, have taken over and made it more boring than it currently is. So yeah, if you liked that video, if you learned a little bit, I don't know if enjoyed is the word, because it was, well, this. But if you liked it, hit that like button, let me know. If maybe do a few more of these, take some more teams out of the leagues and see what happens. Maybe there'll be a more interesting one in Scotland down the line, who knows. But thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.